by Mike Jones. He too a freshman. This guy out of Morrisville, PA, and Rutgers with a 2-point lead, 1:09 in.
Nobody stopped Mike Jones. He just took the ball all the way to the basket. What a task, Bob, if you're a freshman coming in to play the #1 team in the country.
Wheeler on good defense by Lumpkin. Lumpkin, one of those Jersey players who has stayed home out of South Brunswick. Howard and McIntyre playing catch. Right side, Peeler. Mike Jones watching him. They switch it. Howard looks down for Smith. Too tall for him. On the baseline. Retrieving it was Peeler, but he was on the baseline.
Real good defense inside by Rutgers. Missouri thus far has not been able to successfully get the ball inside against the half-court defense. That's exactly what Rutgers wants.
Knights on top by a couple.
Bob Wenzel would also like his team on offense to hold the ball a little bit before they shoot, but of course if you're Lee Perry and you have an open jumper, why not stick it in the basket?
7-3 Rutgers. McIntyre tries to take 3 off of that. He does. Johnny Mack, as they call him here, hitting 45% from that range. It gets it back to 1. Tigers as a team 36% from long range. Pass. Earl Duncan looking one way, passing the other, and Rutgers not intimidated at all so far.
Earl Duncan does a real nice job here as he catches the basketball. Watch how he spins, waits until McIntyre clears so he doesn't dribble. Then McIntyre trying to come over and help. Doug Smith went to pick up Duncan, wasn't there for Perry. Perry lays it in. This guy, Bob, is not really known as a scorer. Bob Wenzel not relying on him for scoring ability, so it's a big bonus when he's playing well offensively.
5 points early. 2 minutes and 15 seconds in. 10-6 Rutgers.
And Rutgers with some zone press right there. That's a bit of a surprise.
Doug Smith does a 360 and commits an offensive foul. Dick Paparo right on top of the play.
Norm Stewart taking a look there. Doug Smith runs very, very well in the open court. That time on the spin move, spun right into Keith Hughes, who had the position established. That's a good call.
Well, Earl Duncan looks bigger than 6'3", and he hits from downtown Columbia. His first 3. He's a 40% shooter, and it's 13-6 in the first 2.5 minutes.
One thing that Rutgers desperately needed to do was to come out and start quickly, and they certainly have done that. Real nice zone defense inside.
Peeler forcing his way in. Button unable to get the offensive tap. Cleared away by Hughes, who outlets, and here comes Duncan.
Duncan, like Hughes, a transfer from Syracuse. Missouri stays in that man-to-man.
Nothing but net for Keith Hughes. A couple of 3s for him.
Get a look at Bob Wenzel. Bob, it's an interesting thing. That's Hughes' three-pointer number 18 on the year. The leading three-point shooter for Missouri is John McIntyre, who has but 24. So that gives you an indication of what a great three-point shooter Hughes is.
Button got a tip of his miss. A falling night, but the ball stays alive. We have a whistle, and it's traveling on Donnell Lumpkin. After all that trouble for Bob Wenzel's team to get the ball, then they travel with it with a chance to increase a quick 10-point lead.
Everybody laying on the ground in there. Lumpkin was probably happy to be out of that pack.
Down deep, Peeler, great feed for Smith. No foul, but it's knocked over the baseline.
Rutgers reacting very well to the basketball. Lumpkin going for the steal and missing, but his teammates helping him out. Here you get a chance here. Hughes coming over the back and blocking, and now as we come back to live action, Lee Perry is going to get called for the foul.
The Tigers got the ball inbounds to 6'1" Lee Coward, standing just inside the baseline. He did a turn and a shot. Perry fouled him, and Coward, an 86% free throw shooter, will go to the line. Nearing 400 assists in his career. He has started in the last 4 games. Missed 3 with a cracked rib, and over his last half dozen games, he's really prospering from being back in the starting lineup, averaging 16 points and 5 boards. Pretty good rebounding for a 6'1" guard. His free throws make it 16-8.
Coward now going to pick up Duncan a little further down the court. Mike Jones, very good ball handler, really quick, scrappy player.
There's a tip away by Smith. Peeler running around Lumpkin with the slam and a foul.
Bob, we saw Anthony Peeler open the game with a three-point shot. There's Doug Smith with real good defense. Now watch Peeler's speed with the basketball. Just blows by Lumpkin. This is a guy who just made a three-pointer, now comes down with a full-court dunk. And this kid's only a sophomore.
You had to remind some Big 8 coaches, didn't you? They are sick facing this guy for the next couple of seasons. 4 minutes in now, the Tigers have it back to a 5-point spread.
1-2-2 zone press by Missouri. There's Peeler again.
Peeler with a steal and a foul on Mike Jones at midcourt. A timeout on the floor. 4:04 in. Rutgers big early, but now it's all Tigers.
Out to an early 5-point lead, and much of it is on the strength of their defense. In a 2-3 zone, very conscious of the inside. You can see when the ball does go in there, they collapse around the ball, secure the rebound. Excellent defense by Rutgers.
They're hoping to protect number one longer than they did in '82. They were on top for 2 weeks, and then Nebraska beat them here. Nice dump down deep. Peeler got it to the big man, and Nathan Button going up was fouled. It'll be called on Daryl Smith, who just checked in.
Anthony Peeler, we saw him with the three-point shot, we saw him with the steal, and then the length of the court dunk. That time, Norm Stewart inserting him at the high post area, that zone defense. Excellent pass inside to force that foul.
The foul was on 32, Daryl Smith. And the Tigers now are 4 in a row at the line. Bunton's first points of the night. There's Daryl, who just came in. Bunton with a couple, and he just passed his coach Norm Smith from the all-time Missouri scoring list. That's the third, Norm Stewart. That is the third Tiger to pass the head coach on the scoring list this year. And Rutgers is now 7 of 7 from the floor.
Rutgers did a nice job the last time against the Missouri press. Duncan taking advantage of Missouri trying to set its half-court defense and scoring. Missouri trying to get the ball up the court quickly. Here's that zone again. 2-3 zone. You can see Hughes trying very hard to stay in front of the big guys down inside.
There's a three from the right corner. The southpaw Peeler, 9 points.
That's what you mean when you talk about an inside game and an outside game working in concert. Rutgers trying to cut off that inside game. Missouri scoring the threes.
Rutgers shooting just beautifully so far. That's the first miss. Smith had position, and on his back was Lee Perry.
Bob, you talked before the game about how thin Rutgers is inside. Lee Perry, that's 2 fouls now against him.
And 5 team fouls on the Scarlet Knights. Tom Everson, a 7-foot senior center, is in. Kind of a bump and grind guy, not in there to do a whole lot of scoring.
Well, he's in there to help cover up that inside.
There's Button with the turnaround, a little too strong. Everson couldn't get the rebound. And the Tigers skying as Button went up again, but coming down with it, Mike Jones.
Button and Smith are just tremendous on that offensive board.
Trying to get his own was Daryl Smith. Here come the Tigers. Coward down the middle, men on the wings, and to the hoop is Smith, but he traveled.
Smith not very happy with the call, but he showed you right there his ability to run the court. Really got down the court quickly. It looked like Coward didn't have an opportunity to set up the fast break, but suddenly there's Smith flying down the wing. Get a wide look at the man-to-man defense by Missouri.
On top to Duncan. Way up in the corner of the Hearnes Center as we look down, and Duncan penetrates down to the baseline. Earl Duncan off to a fast start with 8 points.
Duncan comes in with the reputation as a big-time guard, and he's shown it so far.
Button, baseline right, and Peeler is on his way to a big night with 11 points in the first 6 minutes and 15 seconds.
He had 24 in that big win against Kansas on Saturday.
Jones. A fancy dribble with McIntyre watching him. He lost it, but his teammates kept it. And a fancy turnaround won't go for Keith Hughes. Out of bounds, it belongs to Mizzou. They have a chance to tie, this time down the floor, as Bob Wenzel makes a substitution. Orange Stewart on the officials, as Craig Carter, a 6'3" junior out of Brooklyn, is in. And sitting down was Mike Jones.
Craig Carter, number 23, started every game last year for Rutgers.
Smith from the free throw line couldn't hit it. McIntyre with the loose ball and the shot. John McIntyre with 5, a dangerous outside shooter. Earlier this year, Nolan Richardson at Arkansas told us he was the Tiger he was concerned about most. You know the other guys are going to have a big game. If he does, you're dead.
McIntyre's a tremendous athlete. He can really get up for his size. Good shooter. There just isn't anybody on this Missouri team that you can lay off.
Everson with a left-hander. And the rebound taken down by Nathan Bunton. Peeler running, penetrating, shooting, and fouling his man with the offensive foul.
Rutgers has thus far done a pretty good job stopping Peeler's penetration. That time Carter stepping in, taking the shot, taking the charge. He get a chance to see Peeler. Now this is just a bad decision. Rutgers is back set on defense. It's really a 1-on-5 right there. Peeler creates the charge.
Earl Smith did a nice job of taking the charge. Duncan for Carter. And Carter, after being fouled by Coward, banks one off the glass. It'll be number 1 on Lee Coward. And the Tigers will have their 4th team foul.
Scarlet Knights doing a pretty good job setting screens up in the top of the key area. That time Missouri did not do a very good job handling the screen. Here you see Doug Smith is late getting over on that screen. Allows the penetration by Carter. Coward trying to help out, fouls him.
Jay McGinnis, a 6'9" senior center in. Everson takes a seat. And at the line is Craig Carter. Looked like Craig knew that one was short and he was ready to rebound it himself, but it's a 2-shot foul.
It's much better to get it there, Bob. Don't worry about the rebound.
And he missed them both. Darrell Smith may have traveled. He was sandwiched by a couple of Tigers, and then when he got control, he slid the feet. And a turnover for the Scarlet Knights. It's a 20-20 game. We're almost 8 minutes in. They were off to a 16-6 run. Off the miss by Coward. Here come the Knights. Running is Duncan. 4-on-2. Left side. Smith lost it. Got it back. Missed on the layup. And McGinnis scores and draws the foul.
Nice job by Rutgers to stay after it. Missouri playing very good defense in the transition. Coward gets a block shot on the first one. There's Coward slapping that ball away. Smith recovers. Bunton blocks it. So not too often you get 2 shots blocked right in a row, but then you stay with it and stick it in, does McGinnis.
Knights not shooting well from the line now. McGinnis got his first 2. Striking stat. Doug Smith, 8 minutes in. No points, 2 fouls.
It's zone defense that's doing an excellent job collapsing back inside. You can see those really covering up against Smith.
McIntyre. And that's a 3. Bunton kicked the ball back outside, and John McIntyre has 8 points.
Bob, when you're playing a team like Missouri that's got weapons in all areas of the court, when you take something away, you give something up. Thus far, Missouri taking advantage.
And nothing but net for Keith Hughes. That's his 3rd 3 of the night.
Nathan Bunton, matched up against Hughes, isn't used to playing against guys who are going to stand out there and poke that 3-pointer.
There's another one from Lee Coward.
I'll tell you what, let's just forget playing on the inside of that line. We'll just play on the outside of that line.
High-scoring game. 9 minutes in. Teams are at least halfway to 50, each of them.
Bob Wenzel was hoping to maybe run a little time off the clock. Certainly none of that's gone on.
We haven't even mentioned the shot clock yet. There's Duncan for 3. Little strong with it. And Nathan Bunton gets the long rebound. Coward running for Missouri.
I'm sure Bob Wenzel would prefer that his team move that Missouri defense a few times before they launch one, if for no other reason than to be in better rebounding position.
Button kicks it outside. Howard missed the three. Long rebound. Nathan Button. You'll see those off the three-point attempts. Here's Smith looking for his first points. Rebound. Button muscles inside and draws the foul. McGinnis on him.
Missouri, we mentioned, being very strong on the inside. They showed it with that series of rebounds, but they also passed the ball extremely well. Nice ball movement that time by the Tigers. You can see McGinnis, he picked up the foul.
First appearance for Billy Martin of Rutgers, a 6'6" senior out of the New York area, North Babylon. He was a player that Coach Wenzel told us this afternoon was not expected to play in the game. Maybe in there to give somebody a breather. Doug Smith will be replaced by Jeff Warren, a freshman out of Litchfield, Michigan.
That's right, Bob. Bob Wenzel told us that Martin was not going to play, but then again, he also told us they were going to try to hold the ball a little bit.
This is also the man whose pregame prognostication was, let's take the air out of the ball, play some zone, and go get a pizza. I think he's taking it a little more seriously than that. His team got off to a great start tonight, trying to hang with Missouri now with better than half of the first half remaining. And Nathan Button cools off the hot Missouri shooting from the free throw line.
Shows you the kind of versatility that Anthony Peeler has. He's been playing an inside guy, but now with that substitution, he's going to guard Duncan.
And Duncan, so quick on the baseline. Nice work after receiving the pass, and he has 10.
Peeler got picked off. Excellent ball movement by Rutgers.
Travis Ford in the game for Mizzou, number 5 at the point. Right wing shot, and that's a three for Peeler. He has 14, scoring at better than a point-a-minute pace.
You know, a lot of people think the book on Peeler is to just play his drive. Make him shoot that three-pointer.
Boy, Duncan's having a great night so far. That's 12 for the 6'3" junior out of L.A.
That's one way to keep Peeler occupied. Keep taking the ball at him when he's on defense.
A lot of folks thought he would go back out west after leaving Syracuse, but he went from Syracuse to Jersey, and are they glad he did. Nathan Button had it tipped. Out of bounds, it'll belong to the Tigers. Timeout on the floor, 9:22 first half, and it's a 29-all tie.
$1 million.
8 years ago, Norm Stewart at the helm of the Tigers, and they would go on to be number 1. Ricky Frazier with a wing jumper against the Jayhawks of Kansas. He was 8 for 8. The bench of the Hawks setting a play down by 1 late, and Kansas would go on the offensive. They would experience some fumble and bumble. John Sundvold would knock it away. Steve Stepanovich would finally pick up the loose ball. And Missouri would go on to win, not letting Kansas even take the final shot. Norm Stewart with congratulations to his team on their way to their only number 1 ranking as they beat Kansas, their only number 1 ranking until now. And they won the Big 8 title that year, of course, one of many. Norm Stewart has won here in Columbia.
Not too many 42 to 41 games in this day and age in the Big 8, though, Bob.
That's halftime in the Big 8 now.
Travis Ford with the ball, number 5 in the game from Missouri.
With McIntyre out on top as Lee Coward gets a bit of a breather. They've got Jeff Warren down deep. This is Peeler on the wing. In the middle is Button, and Ford missing badly as Donnell Lumpkin picks up the rebound. 29-all is the score as we come out of the timeout. Little strong there was Lumpkin. He kind of stood and watched his shot from 20 feet or so. And Peeler penetrates. Quick with the left hand, but not in. Button the rebound, and he can't hit. And then Peeler tried to steal. Running is Mike Jones. Duncan in for 2.
That's 6 of 7 now for Duncan from the floor. He's having a big basketball game.
We'll check his scoring. I've got him for 14. There's Travis Ford out on top. Peeler on the wing.
With Doug Smith out of the ball game, you can see Rutgers changing the zone a little bit, trying to cover that perimeter shot. Not well enough right there. McIntyre with another 3.
He has 11 on the night, and the Tigers have the lead by 1 with 7:50 remaining now. And there's a three from the left wing for Keith Hughes. He has a dozen. What a ball game for the Scarlet Knights on the road so far.
One of the strengths of this Scarlet Knight basketball team is their ability to shoot the basketball, and they're showing that today. There's a foul inside against Mike Jones.
Jones with his second foul as Nathan Bunton put the ball to the floor. Doug Smith set to check back in for the Tigers.
Normally putting the basketball on the floor against a zone that's going to collapse in on top of you is not a very good idea, but Nathan Bunton showing some pretty good strength, able to handle the ball inside and get it to the basket to draw the foul.
Craig Carter back in as Jones sits down with 2 points and 2 fouls. For the first time tonight, the Tigers will call on Brad Sutton, the 6'9 senior. Another one of that Michigan connection out of Grand Rapids. Jeff Warren has a seat. Tigers suddenly have gone cold from the free throw line.
Well, the wrong guys are at the free throw line. When Peeler and Smith are there, they're going to make them. But with Bunton at the free throw line, he comes in shooting just 53%.
Tigers will shoot some free throws down the stretch. The Knights are already in the penalty situation. Missouri has a couple to give with only 5 team fouls.
Now here's Rutgers in a little bit of a delay game. Bob Wenzel said they were going to try to take the air out of the ball at various spots in the game, and he's picked a spot right here with his team leading by 2. 15 seconds left on the 45-second shot clock.
Duncan and Peeler one-on-one. Here's Hughes inside 5 with the shot. McGinnis kept it alive, and Hughes can't stick it. McGinnis keeps it alive again, and the Knights will get 45 more seconds.
Boy, great work on the boards by McGinnis and by Hughes in there. You don't expect to get offensive rebounds against this Missouri team.
And foul number 2 on Anthony Peeler reaching in. Missouri will shuttle 3 players in when we come back. The Knights, though, on top by 2. Back to the Hearnes Center in Columbia with Dan Bonner, Bob Carpenter, and Rutgers. Impressive on the road so far, up by a couple. 3-point shooting for each team. Between the teams, Dan, 67%, a collective 12 of 18.
I think the interesting thing about that graphic, though, Bob, is with that kind of shooting going on, it's obviously a perimeter game. And if it's a perimeter game, I think it favors that man's team right there because Missouri isn't using that inside strength.
But how long will it stay that way? In for Higgins. He was partially blocked by Doug Smith on the set play out of the timeout. Ford. And kind of a shuffle by Sutton and a foul. What a shot that was by Brad Sutton.
One of the few times today that Missouri's really been able to get the ball and get off on the fast break. Ford does a nice job forcing the defense down to the baseline to pick him up. McGinnis, if he's going to stay in that position, should keep his feet on the floor because Sutton probably would have charged, but with McGinnis creating the contact, Sutton's going to get the hoop and a chance for 3.
The guy who's a pretty good shooter but doesn't get a chance to score much. Back in the game, the big senior center at 7 feet, Tom Everson. McGinnis, who did a good job on the boards. Couple of fouls, couple of rebounds, and 2 points. And the Tigers by 1.
McGinnis and Everson both in there to bang against those Missouri inside people.
Carter with a strong drive from the baseline right. Craig Carter's first 2.
The offensive set for Rutgers really pulling the Missouri inside people up to the free throw line, creating some opportunities along the baseline for the guards.
Left side of your screen, 32, Jamal Coleman in for the first time. He can't reach the errant pass, and it'll belong to Rutgers as Norm Stewart, his team in a non-conference clash here tonight, getting all they want from Rutgers. Tigers have won 28 consecutive non-conference games here. Lumpkin with a long miss on a 3. Lee Coward with the long rebound. It's 4 on 3 as he goes into the paint. Blocked by Everson. Coleman keeps it alive. Nothing there for him. And the Knights with Duncan come away with it.
The longer Rutgers hangs in this game, Bob, the more confidence they get. And Missouri looks like they're in for a real dogfight here.
We're going to have one official overruling another here. Dick Paparo will call an offensive foul, a defensive foul on Jamal Coleman. It was to be an offensive foul on the first whistle.
Well, the ruling to be that the contact by Coleman occurs before Duncan runs in. Here comes Duncan with the basketball. You see Jamal Coleman. Coleman is going to reach in right there. He's called for the push before Duncan runs into Sutton. No question that Sutton has the position, but the call by the official is that hand of Coleman on Earl Duncan's hip.
Earl Duncan with his 14th point of the night.
Duncan doing a nice job. He's penetrated by people all evening long. Does it to Jamal Coleman right there. Sutton in great position, but the first foul occurred before that one.
Duncan puts them both down. He has 15. And our first look at Rick Datica, 6'2" senior out of Elmwood Park, New Jersey. Duncan, a well-deserved breather, a big first half as he has 15 of Rutgers' 38 points.
And you better believe he won't be out of the ball game long. Rutgers stays in that 2-3 zone defense.
Ford and Coward out on top for Mizzou. Jamal Coleman rotates out there. Ford gets it into it for the entry pass with Smith, who was short on the jumper. He couldn't get it over the iron. And now we're almost 15 minutes into the game without Doug Smith scoring.
Got to credit to Rutgers' defense. That zone defense has really forced Smith to take tough shots when he's gotten the ball in there at all.
Hughes trying to work off an Everson pick. Datica will run the offense. He's one of the all-time assist leaders at Rutgers, but not playing a whole lot now. Keith Hughes, unbelievable from outside tonight. That's his 5th 3 in the first half.
That's amazing. I mean, that was a long 3 right there. That was about a 3.5 pointer. He was far away from the basket. Nathan Bunton's going to have to get out there and guard him.
Penn State kept him scoreless for the first half the other night. He got a dozen after intermission to help the Knights to a win over the Nittany Lions in the Atlantic 10, where they're 4-3. Inside Smith, around Everson, and now he's on the scoreboard.
Boy, what a move by Smith. The ball fake there. Defense steps one step, and that's enough for Smith to scoot by.
Danica against Ford. Keith Hughes on fire. Smith watching him. Everson at the high post. Datica for Hughes. Sets his feet. Blocked by Smith. Bunton back to Doug, and here we go. Datica fouls him to prevent the slam.
And it's going to be ruled an intentional foul. And that's really a tough play for Rutgers right there. Smith going to get the 2 free throws. Missouri going to get the ball. Missouri beginning to take Keith Hughes seriously from out of 3-point range. Doug Smith doing a great job getting out and blocking the shot. Then he starts off down the court after the block. Bunton sees him, gets the ball there. Datica with the defense. Called for the intentional foul.
Couple of shots and possession for Missouri. Down by 4 with exactly 4 minutes left. But they still have gone cold from the line. Doug Smith with 3 on the night. Tigers will have the ball when we come back. 41-38 Rutgers.
For that special purchase, there's no better card than Gold MasterCard. You get nearly 3 times the acceptance of American Express. That means more places to get Master Purchase, the best buyer protection.
Charlotte Knights of Rutgers surprisingly leading by 3. Doug Smith has had a tough night inside all night. Here he senses that there's a place on the baseline for him. That fake drives Lumpkin away, cuts to the basket. Doug Smith, that was his first 2 of the game. Pretty big factor, as you can see right there, and why Rutgers is still in this ball game. Smith averaging almost 19 points a game.
Tigers with the ball after they made 1 out of 2 following the intentional foul by Datica. McIntyre, after having it switched to him, looks down, says nobody guards me, I'll take the 3. Missing, Smith keeps it alive, and he guns again. McIntyre with 14 in the first half.
Peeler and McIntyre really answering the bell from outside, since the inside really has been fairly effectively cut off by Rutgers.
3.5 left, tied at 41. Offensive show this evening. This is one of them. Keith Hughes, one of the big players tonight.
You see Nathan Bunton, he's guarding Keith Hughes all over the court right now. And there's a three by Lumpkin.
He's not shy for a freshman. He's shooting 46% from that range, leading the Knights, but his first points of the evening. Here's Coward trying to match it. Coward has 8 with a couple of threes, and it's 44 all. That took a grand total of about 30 seconds to see each team bury a three. Lumpkin.
And there's Coward with the rebound.
He gets some, averaging a couple a game and a bunch over his last 6. A big, strong drive by Nathan Bunton. Hard to not foul him when he's coming through the lane unless you want to let him go all the way.
You can see a very good view from our camera angle right there. On the fast break, Coward finding Ford in the corner. Ford with a great pass inside.
Rick Datica back in for Rutgers. Heath Carter takes a seat. At the line, Nathan Bunton.
Tremendous rebounder. Number 2 rebounder in the Big 8.
Well, he's had 11 double-doubles this year. He had 22 points and 10 boards against Kansas on Saturday. The Norm Stewart's team still not shooting well from the line. They're now 4 out of 9. Bunton with his 3rd point of the night.
We might mention Anthony Peeler sitting on the bench. He's got 2 personal fouls. He was a big offensive factor for Missouri early.
Tigers haven't held on to the lead long tonight.
Nice job. Nice job by Smith to get down and help out against Duncan.
Who is short with the jumper. McIntyre the rebound. Angles it for Coward. Man open underneath. And he dumps it forward to McIntyre. And Bunton had offensive rebounding position. Everson on the foul. Nice ball movement by the Tigers.
This is just textbook moving the basketball in the transition situation. Coward very nearly gets caught up in the air. Over the head pass by Ford. When you move the ball like that, it creates situations where your guys inside can get good position. Bunton got fouled. Now he makes the first free throw.
Bunton has 5 tonight, all from the line. Tigers with their biggest lead, 3.
This is the first real big rush by Missouri, Bob. It'll be interesting to see how Rutgers handles itself. It's important right now to show some poise.
Datica against Ford as they line up at the top of the circle again.
A little delay game offense, trying to run some time off the clock.
Shot clock approaching 20. Game clock with 1:40 remaining in the first half.
Nice job by Smith. He's really helping out on the top of the key now.
Boy, Hughes is looking for a shot. Off the glass, too strong. Outlet, Smith to Ford for 3. Rebound, Hughes.
Boy, that was a major league outlet pass by Doug Smith. That ball came out of there like a bullet.
1:15 remaining in the half. Rutgers down by 3, but I would have to think very pleased to be in this position.
Watch Doug Smith matched up against Everson. He's playing off of him, really doing a good job helping out.
Datica for Duncan. Quick dribble in the paint, and Lumpkin waits for a 2. 5 for Donnell Lumpkin tonight, and a 1-point Missouri lead.
Great penetration by Duncan makes that play go. Here's the 2-3 zone. Again, they've done a nice job cutting off the inside game of the Missouri Tigers.
Shot clock is about 8 seconds less than the game clock.
That's the game clock you're seeing in the right-hand corner of your screen.
Shot clock is down to 15 right now.
With Smith and Everson really banging one another inside.
Smith gets the lob pass, back out to Coward, penetration, McIntyre! Tigers by 3, 5 seconds left, Duncan with it. Too strong and over the glass with time expiring in a scintillating first half here in Columbia. The Tigers get a huge first half from John McIntyre with 16, Anthony Peeler with 14, most of them early, but the Scarlet Knights are right in the ballgame. 20 minutes in the books, Missouri 49-46, and Chris Fowler, a great first half from the home of the #1 Tigers.
That's right, Bob. Rutgers trying to spoil the party. Missouri has now the momentum at intermission. Rutgers took on Syracuse when the Orangemen were #1 up in the Carrier Dome earlier this season and lost that one, trying to spoil the party at Missouri tonight. You know about the problems at Florida, probation, a coaching change,